guys, it's Rachel with Mr. Nola's Glitter. How you doing today? Whoa, it has been a few minutes since I've been here with you guys, right? So a lot of things have transpired in the last month or two. I feel like it's been a million years, but I think it's only been like a month and a half. So it started with our grand opening of our brand new location. That went amazing. That was August 21st. We had so many people here and it was fantastic. Like it was like the best day ever. We felt so much love, we felt so much support, and we had so much fun, right? So we got a break from that. We had a couple sleeps, and not even a week later we were hit with Hurricane Ida. So in our area was pretty devastated by Hurricane Ida. Most of our crew members were without power and water and the basic necessities for weeks. So we went from happy-go-lucky to recovery. I wanted to take care of our customers as much as I could. I wanted to take care of our crew members as much as I could. And I wanted to take care of our community. In the meantime, and us doing that, we partnered with some super cool companies, people that live here that we didn't know. And now we have friends forever. So it filled my heart to do good things in our community and to hear the stories from all across Louisiana. Like, I don't know if you've ever done any research about Louisiana, but like we stick together, like we are in there, right? So I want to switch gears from that. We have opened our store back up and now we are ready to rock and roll again. And now it's time for me to create again. I've been in a little bit of a slump. I've had a lot on my plate. I know that I've talked about mental health before. I just want to let you guys know how important that is. You can't keep filling from an empty vessel. So you can't fill everyone else's cup if your pot is empty. So take the time, fill your pot. And I am trying to speak to myself just as much as I'm trying to speak to you guys. Okay, so all right, so enough with all of that. Let's get into what you came here for. Let me teach you how to make this. Okay, so this design is almost considered, I would call it, I don't know, there's a technical, it's a peekaboo, okay? But it's a peekaboo on steroids. So we have really added a few extra layers. My girl, Vanessa Davis, I believe that's her last name. She does these style tumblers like for every holiday. She started, I think it was last year or the year before, she started with Christmas lights is my favorite color tumbler, where she did the peekaboo with all of that. And she has like really elevated this style every single holiday. So when I wanted to start playing around, I knew I wanted to try that. And then I wanted to add a couple more things on it because, you know, that's how we learn is we take a technique we've seen someone else do and we add our own spin on it and then we pass it on. So it's like a game of telephone, right? Take one, pass it down, right? So this is going to be my take on how I created this style. It is not, like I said, I did not create this style. I have done peekaboos in the past. I have learned a lot of tips. I will share with you what I've learned from my friend Linda, from how to do the offset so you don't struggle and try to like really get the outlines to line up to the cool effect that I did on the top to make it like super opaly, right? So I wanted to show you that. All right, so let's get to it, right? All right, let's go. Okay, first off, we're going to start by prepping our tumblers. This is my new favorite way to prep my tumblers. I have this little hand sander that I picked up at Home Depot. It was like $24 and you can really get done really quick. So I am going to do that. Then I'm going to make sure to wipe this down completely with rubbing alcohol before I move on to the next step. So now we're going to add our glitter on our base coat. So I'm going to do this with the epoxy method. Because I'm using a chunky glitter, this is my favorite way to apply my glitter to my tumbler. I have a very sanded surface, as you can tell. I mixed I don't know how much epoxy I mixed. I mixed equal parts. I have another project that I'm working on at the same time. So you will see me mix this together. I am using glass coat here. As I mix it together, you will notice that I do not mix slowly or take my time. I normally whip my epoxy like I'm baking a cake. I do it whether I'm doing it for the bottom layer, the top layer, but for this layer, it really does not matter if there's bubbles in your epoxy or whatever, because you're just using this epoxy as an adhesive. So you're going to use a very, very, very thin coat. So you'll notice when I start applying this epoxy to my tumbler, I will use my glove finger and I will move my finger down the side like I'm going to be scraping as much of that epoxy off as I can, because I want a very thin layer. I just want enough to where it's going to grip onto the tumbler and grip onto that glitter, and I have that really solid grip. So I'm very, very, very gingerly adding this epoxy onto my tumbler. And as you can see, I am taking my finger and you'll see me scrape it on the side of the tumbler, and then I'll wipe my finger off into the cup because I am taking as much as that epoxy off of that cup as I can. I'll never get it all off of the cup, and that's fine. I just want the least amount as possible on my tumbler when I'm going to lay this glitter down. Now we're going to start applying our glitter. I am just going to sprinkle little spots of these glitters all over. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no right way or wrong way. I first started with Upper Line Pecan Pie from the dessert collection. Then I moved to Oak Alley Street Poboy Fest from the festival collection. This is a really pretty green shifty color. Very fall, those two colors together. Then I'm going to move on to Soul Fest. It's another glitter in the festival collection, which is also another color shift. There's some golds and some magentas and oranges in this one, which I really love. I'm sprinkling that just all over the place. And then we're going to move on to the Treme Fall Fest. It's also another glitter that's in the festival collection. It's also a color shift. There are some pinks and some oranges and some golds. And then I'm going to go back and fill in the empty spots to where my glitters are just Mod Podge together, hodgepodge together, you should say. And there's not too much of the same color touching each other. There's no rhyme or reason to this. It's just grabbing and sprinkling. Don't worry about the glitter that I have at the bottom. I'm not going to waste that glitter because I'm going to use that glitter to cover the bottom of my tumbler. So you can change papers here if you would like to save your glitter or whatever, but I just put mine in a cup, and then here you'll see me sprinkle to the bottom. So my tip to get chunky glitter to behave is to tap, 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 tap when you're done. You want to make sure you're tapping all over and making sure that glitter is behaving and laying itself down like it's supposed to. Once this layer is dry, you're going to put a pretty thick flood coat on the top of that, and you're going to get a nice smooth surface before we move on to the next part. So here you see me, I have cut out leaf shapes. I've used a removable vinyl. That is a must for this type of a project because you're not going to leave any sticky residue behind, and it pulls up very easily. I found the files in Etsy or my Silhouette store, and it's just a leaf outline. It's not anything fancy. So I'm just cutting them out here. I want to make sure that I have several different sizes. I also saved this file onto my computer because I did the offset, which I'm going to teach you in a minute. So here's a little trick. I knew I was going to put a decal on here, so I cut a little piece of transfer paper the same size as my decal, and I'm placing it on my tumbler as a holding spot for my decal. I don't want to put my decal down now because I'm going to spray paint this to create the peekaboo. So where I'm putting this little piece of transfer tape, that's going to be where I'm going to put my decal down. So that's just going to keep me on task, and I'm not going to put any of the leaves in that spot, so my decal fits perfectly. From here on out, there's no rhyme or reason. I'm just placing these leaves as I think they would look good. I'm trying to keep the leaves on a specific color, so when you do the peekaboo, it kind of looks like all the leaves are different colors under here. I'm adding big ones and small ones and just keeping it random. Once I've done that, I'm going to take it outside, and I am going to first spray paint directly over those decals with a white spray paint. I didn't do a full opaque coat on here, as you can see, because I'm going to layer a couple colors of spray paint on here. So this is the first layer, which is white. The second layer that I'm going to go in, I do not wait till it dries. I go right in. I'm going to use this satin almond color. It's kind of like an off-white color. I didn't really want like that stark white on this peekaboo because it's kind of fall, so I wanted some of those warmish tones. So I'm adding just a little bit of this almond over the top, and then I'm going to finish it out with just a couple sprays of this metallic gold to give it like a rustic feel. Next, I'm going to show you a tip that I learned from my friend Linda. This is going to help you get those perfect outlines for your peekaboo. So we are going to create the perfect outline. So you're going to take your leaf, you're going to click on the offset button. I'm using a silhouette, so it's the star. I'm going to click offset, and my offset I'm going to set at 0.020. And that's going to give me just the slightest offset of this. I'm going to click apply, and I'm going to scroll in so you can see, you can barely see it. So you're going to see this, it creates this outline around your image that you've used to peekaboo. So then I'm going to click on the image again. I'm going to click internal offset now, and I'm going to use that same number. I'm going to put 0.020 and click apply, and you'll see the second line. So when I move my main image out of the way, it gives me this perfect outline. So let me scroll back out. So what you're going to do is you are going to remove that original image out, and then you're going to cut this. So when you look at it, you can see that the offset is a little bit on the outside and a little bit on the inside of your main image. So now we're going to group these together, and we're going to cut that image just like that. And so whenever you are putting these over your peekaboo outlines, it's going to give you perfect coverage. So now for the fun part. This is where you're going to use all of those things, and you're going to start building your tumbler. So here I am doing my outlines. I am pulling the inside of these leaves off and putting them to the side because I'm actually going to use those as well. I have more of like a 2D, 3D, 4D type of thing. So I have different layers. We have the peekaboo that I'm going to highlight and outline with the gold foil outlines. And then I'm going to have the outlines without a peekaboo on top in random places. And then I'm going to have the leaves in random places. So this is going to give your eye so much to look at besides just your regular peekaboo. So this is more like almost like mixed media type to where it's like a collage looking effect. So once you get all of your pieces placed on your tumbler and you're satisfied and you love the way it looks, you're going to add the epoxy. So here is my little trick when I added the epoxy. So we have the West Bank Best Bank collection, which is an irregular cut glitter. And there's a couple colors in there that I used for this tumbler specifically. I used the white opal iridescent and I used a smidgen of the light green. So I mixed that directly into my epoxy. I wanted it to give it a super glittery look and kind of fill in some of those white spaces. I wasn't really comfortable with so much white or bare, and this to me gave it exactly what it needed. So I am just slathering this all on my tumbler and we are gonna let this spin. Depending on how much of the glitter you use mixed into your epoxy, you may need to sand slightly and add a final coat. If not, you are ready to rock and roll. So that is it. That is how I created this look. Thank you guys so much for being patient with me and waiting for me to put out my next video. I am ready to be back with you guys and have fun. And I'm looking forward to learning some things and showing you some more things. So until next time, see you soon. Bye, guys.